Yeah.
And I know like the biggest part where I messed up was like when we were just about to like win the game, I missed my jump onto their little spawn area.
Mm-hmm. Um, all right, I sent you the link. Let me know when you can see it, and I'll go ahead and mute.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, so I think in this VOD, I really want to talk about cooldown management more than anything else. I think the big thing with this VOD was just like knowing how to play a SIG into what you're playing against, because it was like kind of they switched up comps a little bit, made it like a couple different things, and I think that cooldowns could definitely be used better. And then also I want to talk about like making sure you're trying to always get value, and I've talked about that with like most of the people on the team, and I think you even probably like on DPS and stuff. So like I want to talk about that because there's like some instances where maybe you could have been doing something more or like getting more value potentially. All right, so to start, obviously we don't see like what their team comp is right away. That's like one thing I'd like as a support. I think like it's important like to check that sort of stuff, so your tank knows what they have, whatever. But we definitely like, if we didn't see it back there, we definitely see sim right here now. And when we see that happen, immediately we need to like think about rotating. Going into sim like as a poke comp, and this is part of the reason like I want to run like the rush stuff with our team, that we coach. I really like to do that because like you just put a sim in it and it makes poke sort of bad if you play it right. Like you don't need to like play poke into poke if you just use sim and play that correctly. But so yeah, as soon as you see a sim, you definitely want to like think about rotating. And when I say that, like you definitely want to like rotate to maybe this next high ground back here, because there's two things that are going to happen. They're either going to TP onto you guys on the high ground, which is terrifying because Ryan's probably going to pin at you. There's going to be turreting bastion and all that stuff. Or they're going to go under and TP to point, which they do obviously. So ideally what you want to do is back up to this high ground. So you see the sim, you start rotating back around to this high ground. What that will do for you is, right, like if they TP to this high ground, take this high ground, they're closer, you've given up this high ground for free, which sucks, but you still have a ton of high ground to play with, and you're not in range of like them just instantly murdering you. You can fall off to point if you absolutely have to. You can rotate into this high ground. You can even back up this way if you wanted. So anytime like you see the sim, especially on poke, think about rotations. And if they don't TP high ground, like I said before, they TP to point. If you're backed up to this high ground, you're already ready to do damage as soon as they're out of the TP, right? There's a chance, you kill someone at a TP because, the supports aren't ready or whatever. Like, I know like a couple of these people personally, like Gojo. I've seen Lightskip play quite a bit. I've seen Mr. Whippy play quite a bit. Like my team has scrimmed this team, and like they're a pretty low tier 4 team. So like, and that's not an insult to them. It's just like they're new to it just because everyone is climbing in Overwatch 2. So like you could definitely take them off guard, and a lot of people like at this rank you're going to be able to take off guard by just shooting at them immediately out of the TP. So yeah, just standing here doing this, like at this, like you're going to poke, which is like the idea of what you're doing, right? Like that makes sense, but it's going to be so much better for you to poke from like a place where they can't get on you, or a place that they're going to go to once you see that they have that TP. Like the little like 10% alt charge or whatever you could possibly get from like doing a bunch of damage right there isn't going to be worth it. And they TP to point. This is a really good rock, but if you're already rotated here, they don't get that tick because you probably get it. You get the rock off earlier. You maybe get a kill like spamming through TP. Turret like stays alive longer. Your Torb then isn't going to be looked at all the whole time. And if you guys get a pick, you get maybe like a rock and that's big and they get low, whatever it might be, you get out like cooldowns. You can drop and then contest. And ideally, you don't want to be like with them, you can still give up the tick, but there's that potential, you know, you get a kill and you don't even have to give up a tick on the point. Good job killing turrets, because for some reason supports struggle to do that. And you played this really well. I think ideally, like I said, you know, if you're rotated back first, like they don't even get that tick, and you know, this situation doesn't play out this way. Maybe you don't lose your Sojourn, who knows? But I think if you know, in this scenario, the way that this has played out, I think ideally, as soon as you see them leave the point, maybe you walk into that high ground right above you, instead of just dropping right away. It's a tough call. Like what you did wasn't wrong by any means, but from here you can definitely support your Torb a little bit better. You know, you can still spam down damage, and I think like from what you did, you played this really well. Like you did a ton of damage. I think you killed a BAF even. Like this is all good. Pretty sure you killed BAF here. Maybe I'm remembering. No, I'm remembering right. Yeah. So yeah, like that, you played that really well. I think like from the other high ground though, you might like benefit just a little bit more. Yeah. You like got the one orb off before you you know, flicked to the right and shot at the other people, so that was huge. Yeah, killing that BAF was really big. It definitely like finished that fight off. Yes, you were just so good. Definitely. So when you see now they have, you know, Hanzo, they've made the swap from, you know, the sim, immediately take the high ground again, because one, like you want it to, like, I can say this from personal experience playing Hanzo a lot. Like I've played way too much Hanzo. It is, for some goddamn reason, so much harder to hit people above than it is to shoot down or at level. I'm not that great at Hanzo, I guess, but like still, like I feel like even a good Hanzo, you know, they're going to struggle to do damage. And obviously Bastion benefits from high ground too, like we're being level. So like if you take this high ground, your Sojourn and Torb are going to rail, and Hanzo is just going to be cut off from doing anything bar like some crazy good shots. So like take this high ground immediately. They now have no way of getting onto you. What they have to do is, again, speed to point, which, you know, you can rotate faster, or, you know, not faster, but fast enough to, you know, be able to catch them as they're rotating, if you're on that high ground. Or, you know, if they don't decide to push just straight to point and they push you guys, they have to go up the stairs over here. And that doesn't work for them. They're just going to get fucked. They push up these stairs, you're going to do so much damage to them from up here. You know, your Torb's going to be doing damage, your Sojourn's going to be building rails, like, they're going to be fucked. And in that scenario, they still can just, like, you still can just rotate away. So yeah, definitely take that high ground way sooner. You want to be at high ground before they get anywhere near this little like trolley thing, whatever you call it, you know, because now like if they're smart, right, they're already at that trolley, you've rotated high ground now, they either can, one, catch you, and they should, right, like they should just speed onto you right now and kill you, and like maybe your Sojourn if she decides to overextend to help you or whatever, or two, they can just speed to point and you can't stop that rotation from happening now. But they just wait too long, you know, like you benefit because of their mistakes, whereas like you definitely could have played that like better, right? Now, as for cooldown management, that's like the main thing I want to talk about. So into Bastion, you definitely want to be saving Suck for turret mode. I get why you used it there. That's one thing, you know, I completely get that. Understandable, you know, Bastion can absolutely fucking roll you with or without the Suck if, you know, if he has the help, but you definitely want to be saving it, and again, you were low there, so I get it. I do want to talk about shield though as well. So like I noticed you left your shield out quite a bit. So like here, you know, shield's just chilling up here this whole time, right? Like you dropped off that high ground, you've been down for like 5-7 seconds now, something like that. Maybe a little bit less, but like at least 4 seconds you've been down, and that shield's been up there, right? And shield's not taking a bunch of damage, great, but like now you don't have shield, you've Suck, and you don't have shield. So like big thing, when you're in like you're using your Suck with it, I don't actually know what the ability's called. It's like gravitic some bullshit, I don't know. But when you're using that, you can pull shield back. You just press the shield button, right? Yeah, you can pull it back with your Suck going on. So definitely like think about that, because there's a couple times I noticed where you'd have the shield out, you know, and like you'd also be sucking. But 2, so like a big thing here is like when you get like a ton of, like they did a ton of damage to you right there while you were using your suck, right? So you have 604 health plus your mercy's healing you back up. So you have a lot of over health right now. It's going to be really good for you. Ideally, your shield is not up right now, like, and it's, you know, full by this point, and you take a bunch of damage here from both Hanzo and Bastion because you don't have suck, you don't have rock, right? But your shield's ready to go, and by the time you've taken, you know, maybe like a fourth of your health or even almost half of your health, your suck cooldown's back to around half, and your shield is ready to go, right? And you can pop that shield up, you get back around the corner, you know, and by that point, turret mode has run out, and they have no chance of killing you then. So like you just want to think about like those cooldown rotations, and I'll talk more about it as like we see certain things, because it gets a little bit different when like they swap off the Rhine and swap to, you know, Sigma and stuff. So like it can just be different depending on what you are and, you know, or what the other team is. But especially when playing into like high burst characters like Bastion, Hanzo.
I feel like I'm really comfortable with the Sigma mirror.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Sigma Mirror too, honestly. It's fun. It becomes like a little bit stressful on Sig, like when you're playing into Rush, like when you're going into Ryan, or like Junker Queen kind of fucks. You know, Zarya can kind of fuck, depending on the maps, obviously. It gets a little stressful because if they get in your face, you just get rolled. But like, you can definitely outplay it with like proper cooldown management, and I love, like, Sig is so good into Bastion, so like you use your cooldowns effectively into Bastion, he's just gonna like do nothing the whole game. He'll be useless. You essentially, like, when your team's playing poke and you're on Sig, you're just essentially like the, like, what would you say? You're just the denier, you know, like you're denying angles, you know, you're denying, you know, big abilities like turret mode, you're denying all that stuff, and just like you're canceling out any sort of ability for like DPS to do anything at all, and sometimes even supports. Like you can, you know, shield. This is one thing against Ryan I was gonna mention a little bit later. Like if you're playing into Ryan and like Ryan has an Ana or, you know, a BAP, something like that, where like if they're not in their face, right, you can shield off their healing from them, right? Like just send the shield behind Ryan a little bit, because you can't shield anything Ryan does anyway, you know? You just send the shield behind him a little bit, and fuck does he do? He's just useless. So yeah. Sojourn was feeding. I mean, you backed up, but like, I don't know, I don't think that was a terrible call to do. That's a good window. Good job taking advantage of it too. Definitely think about, like, I don't remember exactly the order that this happens, but I think you go to shield like Ryan sort of, or yeah, you shield the bottom, right? So like also think about like when they have things like Ryan, or, you know, like a tank that you're not really shielding off, really hardcore think about like what things you need to be shielding off, because like in the Sig mirror sometimes you're going to be using the shield for yourself, right? But most of the time when you're not in like some sort of mirror like that, or, you know, like you don't have a Zarya directly on you, your shield almost always is just going to be, like I said, to deny stuff. So like I get why you did that right there. Like, you know, you saw Bastion walking across. I understand why you put shield up, but he's not a threat down there by himself. And your team is all on high ground, right? So your BAP should be on high ground, but the rest of your team is on high ground, you know? So like the only threat that's going to be like a problem here for you guys is this top left. Whether that be Hanzo, you know, whether that be a BAP window, like whatever it might be. So you just got to be ready to shield that, and don't worry about the bottom. Since you're the only person on bottom, yeah, like you definitely won't have to shield yourself here, unless, you know, Bastion walks you with turret, which would be crazy. So yeah, definitely look to shield off Hanzo in this more so. Like your Torb is like on high ground, which is good. A little bit in the open, sort of on that high ground. Unfortunately, like he's not positioned phenomenally, but like you definitely could have denied that kill from happening. Similar thing here, like, you know, there's not much you can do to like stop a window, right? Like a window turreting Bastion, that's just gonna win a fight. Your teammates have to like completely hide in order for that to not happen. But if your Torb doesn't die here, you know, your BAP like isn't positioned horribly like he was. Like if they just kind of chill back on these stairs and you initially like shielded off that, you know, Hanzo, like Torb doesn't die, like I said. Your Sojourn's almost back. I think there's a pretty good chance you guys kind of hold this without anyone dying. And it's not entirely on you. Like your teammates have to position well in order to like make it all work too. But you know, think about like those little bit of like little angles. Like it's a waste in a sense, but send your shield up at that, you know, turreted windowed bastion. It's gonna die in, you know, a second, but like that extra second might give your BAP a chance if he's positioned right. Like it's not your fault he's positioned wrong, but if he's positioned right, it might give him that extra second he needs to like completely get behind cover and not have to deal with any damage. Because there's nothing like, if you don't benefit here from shielding yourself one bit, right? Like if you get into that room, right, you have suck if Bastion drops on you. You know, like if Ryan walks on you, you know, your shield doesn't help anyway. So like, don't worry about like shielding yourself off of there at all there. Good try on the stall. Okay, so second point, definitely want to talk about quite a bit. Second point was pretty bad. So it becomes a little awkward for you, right, on Sig here. High ground is good for Sig. You don't always have to play on high ground, though, too. Like, it's fine if you're on the low ground. I think, ideally, you want to, like, contest this high ground right above you. Sorry, I'll go to it. You want to contest, like, up here. You know, you can do a lot of poke damage from up here. You can deny Hanzo from, like, taking an off angle up here. And, you know, if Ryan decides to push you, which he should eventually, you just back out, you know. But, like, being on the low ground specifically here, with the cart all the way back here, you know, you don't really do anything, you know. And that's what I, like, when I mentioned at the very beginning, like, I want to talk about always, like, making sure you're doing something. Especially on, you know, Sig. Because they can be like super influential. So I think starting on the high ground would be really good here. But again, it's not the end of the world. The goal here is, though, if you don't play high ground, you need to like make sure you're doing something else. So that could be one of two things. You know, the less beneficial option is like, you know, you're helping your team kind of contest the high ground a little bit. Like you could be like playing on these stairs and, you know, poking, or, you know, if you were up on high ground, you know, you could like on this back high ground, you could like be poking into there too. But since you're on the low ground, the best thing for you to do as soon as you see that they're rotating high ground is to contest cart. If your team can't, you know, stay alive or whatever, you being on low ground is not going to help him stay alive, right? Like you can't do anything about that. So you need to make sure you like, do something and contest the cart, right? So like being down here, like, yeah, you might do like a little bit of poke, right? You might like if over here is fine, right? Like you're doing some stuff, right? But as soon as they rotate through to that next room, you're again useless now, right? You can send a shield up, but like they can melt that pretty quick, and you have no other way of helping your team. And this whole time they're just chilling on cart. The Lucio's just chilling on cart. He can't kill you, right? Like it's awkward. Like, you know, it's awkward because Ryan can drop and do stuff to you, and that's bad. But being back here, like, they're not only are they getting high ground, but they're also getting free cart pressure, and you need to make sure you're doing one of the two, either like stopping their high ground push or, you know, stopping cart push. And, you know, if they hard focus your team in the back line, your team, you know, can move to you. Hopefully they do. I'm not sure what the fuck this turret is, by the way. I didn't even notice that before. That's useless. But yeah, you just got to make sure you're like doing something. Sitting down here is not like helping you or your team, you know. You could flux it too, and I know you flux late in this fight after a bunch of people die. That's not ideal either, but like you could definitely flux this. You get value like in the room, like at the very least you're gonna bait, you know, immortality. Yeah, we wait a little too long for ults. They use a bunch. So Flux just definitely doesn't become worth it at this point. Like, I know Mercy's not dead by the time you do that, but like you've already lost two, you know, like their Bastion's like dead in that too, but like it's just, Flux isn't worth it at that point. If you are going to use Flux, you got to make sure you're getting like one of the high value targets too. Ryan, never Flux Ryan really, like unless he's like 1 health, you know, like definitely able to die. Like Ryan's so worthless to Flux. Like it's got to be Lucio, it's got to be, you know, Bastion, it's got to be, you know, Baptiste. Like you need to make sure you're at least getting out like an immortality, or, you know, getting out like beat, something like that, you know. Whereas Ryan, you know, you lift him, unless he's really low, he's not dying because he's just shielding there, not taking any damage. Now, if you had swapped, maybe it could have been worth it, right? Like, you just, like, you're baiting some more cooldowns, potentially. But because you stay Sig, it just then becomes an even worse ult. I don't think it's wrong to stay Sig here, either. Like, Sig's still really good here, but it just makes the ult even less valuable. Okay, so good first shield here initially, right? That was a good shield. You know, you saved your Bastion. He's taken way too much damage. That's good. But it's yeah. Again, I was just gonna say, I mean, instantly you need to drop your shield. You don't even want to let it get that low, right? You want to like make sure you drop that shield like as soon as you get it into a position enough to where you can use your suck, right? You can like use suck and start to back up. You're gonna take a bunch of damage here from the Bastion with that. That's great. And if you back up, like I think you do like a couple seconds later, you then can like deny the Hanzo damage too, and both of those are really good. I'm going to pause real quick. I got to answer a phone call, but I am still here. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. So yeah, like I said, you know, make sure you're just like backing up to take as much damage, suck as much damage as possible. And then the big thing too, when you use your suck cooldown, right, unless you don't take any damage from it at all, like you don't like suck any damage, never send shield afterwards. The big thing with that ability is like, obviously you get the overhealth and you're like denying all that damage, but like it's such a good thing for letting you regen your shield and like not have to use your shield. So like that overhealth doesn't last forever. So like take that damage after you've, you know, sucked. Like absorb it, right? Unless you're like specifically shielding off, you know, like a Widow or like, you know, something like that where like you're taking an angle away like somewhere else. Always just make sure you just eat that damage after you've already, you know, used your suck. Like take the damage, that way you can like think about like the cooldown rotation. Like I'm at 674 health. I'm gonna take, you know, 100 health here, then I'm going to use shield a little bit, my supports will get me back up, right? You know, I might use shield again there, and then by that time, you know, you've lost the health cooldown, you know, or you've lost the like the over health, but like you've gotten your cooldown back for the suck again. Kind of like a rule of thumb on Thig is, I said Thig, I don't have a list, but that was funny. The rule of thumb on Sig is like, don't ever let your, you know, shield break. Like unless you absolutely have to, like you never want that thing to break. You know, if you're like shooting off like a crazy amount of damage, like yeah, that's fine. But other than that, you just kind of like want to like make people move with it. So here, right, you know how I mentioned on second point, you know, you weren't stalling cart. Here, you're again not stalling cart, but like the good part is you're holding this high ground. You're making it so like once they get to that cart to the bridge where you're at, like they can't go any further unless they get you guys off the high ground. So like this is really good. Like this is like the thing I would have liked on second point, right? It's harder to do on second in a sense because like, you know, this high ground is like connected to the other high ground. It's like it's a little different, but you definitely want to make sure you're either stopping cart or, you know, like stopping something else. Like I said, you know, you always want to be doing something. And this was very good. I love this. I think you did this like most of the round too. Like this is awesome. Realistically, like you don't even need to shoot the Lucio here. Like you can contest the cart from above him. You just stand at the edge, right? Like force them to come to you because he's not going to do shit to you, right? Like if he boops you back, like you just contest it at the other side of the cart again. So yeah, he's just kind of useless. Focus on like, you know, getting kills onto like Hanzo, Ryan, whatever it may be. And then once you guys get a couple kills, then, you know, drop like you do. Good attempt to shield there. I think you could have pushed up with the Bastion here, like on aggressive. You guys maybe could have gotten a pick on the way out or so here. At least like forced out some cooldowns again. You know, made it a little awkward for them. I think standing back here doesn't really do much for you when they're not like at the cart. Nice window. Good follow up on the window. Again, I think like you should probably try and push around here. Like, you know, if you really want, you can like still help your team here to like put a shield out in front of you real quick and then walk to the right. Maybe that's the call. I think that would probably be good. You know, but I think taking that like aggressive angle would be pretty nice. Like just walk over to the right here a little bit. I like this setup too. It's nice being over here on the left and, you know, being able to rotate away. Similar thing, like, no reason to shield that, right? Like, you can toss shield out and say, like, hey, team, get behind cover, but, like, pull it back before it gets anywhere near dying. Good Bastion ult from your team. Let's speed this up a little bit. So I think you can start over here maybe. This is like a very minor thing, but I think you could start over here and like just do poke over here until, you know, you see Ryan get to near the doorway and then start to walk back across the bridge. I think that could be good. You know, if you see Ryan get anywhere near like the, I'll show you exactly what I mean. Like you see Ryan get to where he is right now, like he's near that doorway. Like maybe like when he passes like this like invisible line from like the table and like out to here, right? Like maybe that's when you start to back up, but like I think if you start over there, you're gonna be able to do a little more poke damage. You know, build ult, deny a little bit more space, like make it harder for them to come into you, right? But yeah, just quickly rotate. But I don't. This is just like, that's a very like picky thing, right? This is all nice. Good try on him. Really nice eat here too. That was like huge. I know like you take a bunch of damage. I think if you like continue to back up like a little bit faster, you know, maybe like you don't take as much damage. Like Mercy still fucking dies because Mercy's just in the window, but like you maybe like avoid that fire strike if you just like start to back up a little bit quicker. But again, very picky thing. You did a good job eating the way you did. And it wasn't a bad thing either to get off the high ground here. That was like very, very good. Hanzo fed, unfortunate. Definitely retake this high ground like you are. This is really nice too. Don't ever worry about like Ryan. Like, you know, like if your team's getting picked here because there's a Hanzo being shielded from Ryan, like I don't know, they're kind of like that Hanzo's either nuts or like the what's it called? The team is like not playing cover at all. So like definitely try and take this high ground sooner. Like don't let Bap get up to where he is. Don't let like Bastion, I don't know if he does or not, I don't remember. Don't let him like, you know, grenade jump up to the high ground here. Yeah, he does. You just want to deny this space from them. Like it's not your job to like block that back line of sight where the Ryan is shielding. Like you're not going to do shit to that anyway, you know. Good try on the Bastion or the Bap. This is a really good flux. And see, you realize, like, that was good. Like, you realize it wasn't your job, you know, to, like, go back and, you know, deal with the Ryan. But, like, think about that stuff quicker, so that way you can, like, maximize, like, your damage output, your team's damage output. You know, like, if BAP never gets the high ground, right, like, he's just gonna have to stay low ground and be useless. Like he's just gonna heal Ryan, right? Like no one's gonna do anything there. Again, definitely don't leave your shield out, but like it worked out for you, so that's fine. The big reason I say like don't leave your shield out, right, is like if you put your shield out right now, it's like 131 health, right? And your Hanzo is now in a fight with this Hanzo, and he's low, right? You don't know this in the moment, but if you never had your shield out, it's almost full, right? You can this is great that you're helping your Hanzo. You're fighting the Hanzo actively. This is awesome. But if you toss your shield in front of this Hanzo, he's going to have to feed in order to like kill your Hanzo. He can't do it then. And because it's only 131 health, like it's going to be hard to do that, right? So like if it's, you know, closer to 400 or 500 maybe, if you never left it up prior with that BAP, right, you can send it out in front of him. He can't shoot your Hanzo anymore. He's either going to break shield, feed to kill your Hanzo, or shoot you, and like that's what you want. You want him to shoot your shield or shoot you. Again, lucky, like great peel. You did a great job, like going back to kill him. That's awesome. But you know, if the fight's a little bit closer, you know, you don't kill BAP maybe up top, it becomes a little bit riskier. Like that's just like that strive for perfection sort of thing. Speed through this again. Unfortunate drop. It's okay though. Good eat. Your rocks were pretty good too. So like that rock was awesome. Getting the Sig off the high ground, awesome. Definitely like shouldn't have left your shield up here, and we'll talk about why that's like problematic here. But so you get that Sig off high ground, you are now in like a ridiculously good position, right? So Sig is on low ground now. He can't do anything. You can just walk at their team. They don't have turret mode. Like you could probably get 2 kills with this, or at the very least you're going to force them to like completely abandon Sig, and your teammates can kill Sig, or just Sig's just completely useless. So shield not up here, right? You have 775 health. Again, you just walk on them. You take at most, if you walk on them here, you take at most like 300 damage without shield, and your shield comes back up. You're doing damage the whole time. It forces them back or forces them to die, one of the two. And again, Sig is on low ground doing fuck all. Like you were in such a good position right there if you just walk at them with that full health. Good window from your team. Try to be a little more patient with Rock, you know, until, you know, like if you know Sig doesn't have flux, you know, try to be a little more patient, use it for his eat. But that was fine. Good eat again. Again, you don't need to let your shield die there. You can just back around the corner as you're taking some damage. Good dragon. Good job killing Pylon. Good block on the rock too. That's like a nice, like, that's a thing that's hard to like coach, like, because it's you know, it's a lot of reaction time, but like you definitely want to be doing that as much as possible, blocking rocks. That was really good. Good finish on the Sig. See, like when he just when Sig sucks and you just rock him, like it's so satisfying, one, but like it just, there's nothing he can do. Yeah, good job. That was solid. You know, just think about like that cooldown rotation, like think about like your overhealth and like how can I use this overhealth to like either take space or hold the space as I'm like leaving, you know, that sort of thing. How can I use it to just tank damage so that way I can get my cooldowns back, so I can, you know, get my shield healthier, I can get, you know, my rock back, one of those things. Just think about all that, because it's like such a big and influential thing with Sig to like rotate your cooldowns effectively. And if you can do that, if you can rotate cooldowns effectively, like the other team's going to struggle so much. The DPS are going to be useless. So solid Winston pick here. It was actually pretty good into what they had too, honestly. So you dive well here. Like this is a really good dive. You like time it well. You know, like I think your echo flies up as you do it. My only problem is their Alari, if you just don't look at Sig, is 1,500,000% dead. Yes. Yes. Alari just dies. People talk about how like I've had these conversations with my teammates that like Alari's so hard to dive, blah blah blah. She is such an easy dive target because her pylon's great, right? Like she can heal herself up quite well with pylon. She has her boop, which is fine. Yeah. Yeah. But the big thing here, and we don't know this in the moment, but even if this isn't the case, So even if she like doesn't get dove here, she tosses her pylon away. So like her pylon was up top over here, right? Like it's over in that corner, which is good for her, but like she's very separatable. Like if you just toss Shio down, you know, like she's by herself still. But like she tosses pylon away. Like she tosses it over here with them eventually. I don't know fucking why, but like she does. So like you could definitely kill her. Look, the pylon's over here now. Like, she just tossed it away. Like, she is so free. Like, if she's by herself, I know you said, like, you don't like diving her. Like, if she's by herself, like, I'm diving her as a tank by myself, even if, like, my Echo's, like, a couple seconds behind. Like, she can just die. She is so diveable. Second dive, solid too, again, right? I think this is okay. I think it's a little tough because you were like low going in a little bit, like you weren't 100% health. You know, like it's also tough because like your Ana isn't in a good position. Like ideally, like your Ana doesn't rotate to that high ground; she rotates to this high ground. And like then she can, you know, see you over here, or worst case scenario, you know, she can play at the window too, like one of those things. Like she stands back in this corner over here, like she can see you without getting shot by Hanzo, right? And like Hanzo has to feed to do that, like kill her then. But the dive wasn't bad. It was more so like I think your Ana and you didn't have like a good idea of where each other were. And that's probably more on her than it is you, but just make sure, like, you know, like you're trying to be aware of where she is. And if your Ana's not a talkative player, like if I am playing Ana for my team and we're playing like a Winston dive, like I'm telling my tanks, like, I can't see you, or like I'm positioned here, like all that stuff. It's like I want them to know that, but not all Anas are like that. So like, yeah, I don't know. It's tough, but like make sure you're asking her if she's not a talkative Ana. Unfortunate, your Echo dies. You do capitalize well on this.
I was waiting. Me and Echo were setting something up, but then she got picked off.
Yeah. You capitalize well onto the use of lamp here, but again, like your Ana just like isn't in a great position to help you. She's on low ground, right? Like because she didn't position right in the first place, she's now put herself in an even worse position. Which is unfortunate for you. Like your timing on the dive is not bad. It's just the connection between you and Ana is bad, and it's making your dives look worse than they are. Like your dive is right. Like you dive in after they've used him, or you know, the BAP has just now even died. Like this is great for you, but because she's positioned wrong, like you can't get any help, and even your kill on Hanzo like just ends the fight for them. I think because of where your Ana's positioned, you had to be more passive here, but like if she's positioned right, like this is a good dive. Like you don't die here if she's positioned right, or you die slower, you know, if she's positioned right.
Anything worthwhile usually is.
Yeah, no, it was a good dive. Like really, like that was a very good dive. It was just like the connection between Ana and you made it not a good dive. Again, like I don't think that's on you. Like your timing's wrong because of her. Like you got the timing wrong, but it is not your fault that you got the timing wrong. It might be your fault, like communication wise. I don't know the comms and stuff, but like, you know, she needs to be telling you, like, I can't see you, you know, I'm not in the position to help you, like that sort of stuff. And she needs to position well too. Yeah. That's okay. It's a big pick. So I think I don't mind this either. I think either one of these is fine. Like you stayed on point here and, you know, took the what's it called? The point a little bit. I think that's fine. Your Ana again, like positioned really rough. Like I don't know, man. Like she could just chill underneath the whole time and like not really get shot at too much. You know, like she's just chilling here. She like their widow has to be like over on that far right side to kill her. Like, so that's tough again. But it's fine if you do this right. Like I don't mind that. I think it might have been maybe better to dive a little bit earlier, and then that way you had your shield right up here instead of on the point. But again, it's kind of just this is rotating around like you're on it. Like I don't know. The flex support is so quintessential in any team comp that it makes it hard if the flex support is doing something wrong. That was a nice nano. I don't like talking about mechanics too much, as I've mentioned to you, but I think you could definitely benefit from practicing with Winston ult. So you get the kill on through Gojo here. This is great, but in terms of juggling, right? Like juggling's hard, but I think I'm not sure. Do you know how to like short jump on Winston? Because it didn't seem like it in this, and like it made it like when you're juggling, like you want to short jump most of the time. Do you? Okay.
You press backwards.
Okay. I just wasn't sure. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't know because like on the like 2 or 3 of the jumps here, like you definitely could have juggled a little bit easier, and like it just if you had short jumped, you know. So that was really good, right? Like you get the kill on him, awesome. Definitely could have killed Alari here though too. Good job getting out though. You also don't really want to like, you know, boop them back in towards their team, right? But that's fine. Okay, so similar thing as with Sigma on this point with Doom. Like most of this point, you aren't really doing anything, unfortunately. Like you're kind of relying on, like I know you're playing sort of a pick comp, but like if you're gonna play Doom with that.
I couldn't really do too much just because I was waiting for Coco to rotate up high and then beat them up there. But they never really had a good opportunity to.
Yeah, so I think that the way you kind of get around that is like it's gonna be hard for any of your DPS or supports to like push up there, you know, into a diva. Like that's gonna be hard regardless, right? So if you're playing like. I don't think Doom is great with like the pick comp. I think like Diva is probably better with a pick comp because you can like offer a little more help or peel. But if you're gonna do Doom with this, like you need to make sure you're still trying to get value, right? And I think like the best way to maybe do that is like come this way or you know come underneath here. So like there's no chance of you taking any damage on the way in. Because you just kind of sit like most of this, like you just kind of sit on cart and like you're shotgunning up at them, and then you like, you know, you slam up onto like the Diva, and the Alari, and like you'll punch the Diva off the high ground, and like that doesn't really help you because like Diva's not the problem here, right? You know, like Alari, like you do end up getting a pick onto Alari, and that's phenomenal. Like that won the team the fight, but. Like, you definitely want to make sure you're trying your best to, like, contest this. Like, if you're punching someone off high ground, like, it's got to be one of these two. And that's why I think, like, the Diva might be a little bit better. But, you know, it's tough. And I think the other option is, like, if you don't go the low ground route, is, like, maybe you walk high ground with your Sojourn, right? And make it hard for Diva to stay here. And if Diva stays here, like, you can force her off high ground, right? And then from here, right, if Diva's not on the high ground, you know, you've gotten her off, your Sojourn's now in a good spot. It's going to be way easier also for you to get onto their back line back here, right? You're gonna if you get onto them from, you know, the high ground, it's just way easier than from the low ground. And I think like secondly, you know, you might force the Diva instead of, you know, using a cooldown to get back up to this high ground, she may like be forced to, you know, come up here and peel, right? And I think that's just going to be beneficial for you guys. Your Ana can maybe like... It's tough. Like, your Ana's not positioned well most of this game, so, like, it's tough. But your Ana can maybe position, like, on the low ground if she doesn't go high ground and be able to help you a little bit if you're on this one, whereas, like, from this high ground one, you go up to, like, punch Diva.
We talked about
Mm-hmm.
was I want our Ana to do more, like, aggressive nades and stuff.
For sure.
It's just
Yeah.
So that's something that we're definitely working on.
Yeah, that's definitely like that's a good thing. I'm glad you guys are talking about that. I think as Ana, like you can only use nade for like two things. It's like to be aggressive or to like, you know, like save yourself or like a teammate that's in dire need, right? Like complete peel. And you want it, at the very least, you want it to be like 50-50, but like I prefer, you know, in a dive comp to be using those nades more aggressive more often than not, you know. You want it like 60-40. So yeah, you're definitely right about that. And like if she's playing that low ground like I mentioned, you know, like she might be able to hit that nade, right? She might be able to hit soldier with a nade, hit bat with a nade, something like that. So yeah, for sure. It's so hard. Like I'm not good on tank anymore. I used to like just play tank, but I'm not good on tank anymore because like I struggle with like the communication part of it. And that's funny because like I pride myself on communication. I'm probably the most talkative support player, DPS player that like most people have played with in leagues.
Something I'm really upset about our manager for this team did is he made a captain for each role.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those captains are always going to be in the game, and
Oh.
will be doing main comms, like they're the ones who will be calling fights, saying Ludy and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the dive tank. I play dive and poke for the team.
Yep.
Like we have enough players now where like I'm officially there's two comps now. There's brawl poke and there's dive poke.
Yep.
I'm the dive poke tank.
Yep.
So I'm not allowed to call the engagements or anything like that, and it kind of just feels like that's like my entire role. It just kind of feels like I'm a beefy DPS now.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, I mean like I said, like I struggle with the communication part, but it's not like that communication part. It's like since I don't play much tank anymore, I struggle with like the, you know, like mid fight stuff. Like I'm trying to change targets and things because I'm just too focused on playing. But yeah, like the dive tank needs to be calling like all the engages. That's crazy. Yeah, I'm sorry your manager's done that. That's pretty horrendous. That's like the dive tank's most important role in the comms.
That means that if Shy or Anna is playing and she's the captain of the map that we're playing, that's gonna be calling in my engagement.
Damn. I think that like I can shot call from support, but like on dive, like a support can only shot call so much. Like you can see like your whole team and the layout of the fight, but like
Playing at two different sides of the comps.
yeah.
If you're playing the Ana, you're not part of the dive.
Yeah, you can't make any sort of mid-fight stuff happen with Ana. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I'm sorry that's happened. But yeah, back to the VOD. Yeah, I just think, like I said, you know, like starting from the high ground or, you know, starting from a place where you're not going to take damage on your way to their high ground is going to be better. I'm honestly going to like fast forward through a lot of this because it's just kind of you shotgunning and then like slamming up, punching D.Va. And like I said, you know, it worked out the one time really well when you went onto the Alari and like murdered her. That was awesome. But like, it's going to take them like messing up in order for that to work, you know? So yeah, it wasn't like enough value, right? Like you could have been doing more or like, you know, even just like setting up better. And like the whole time, like the only contest from like the Widow is your Widow, right? Like the D.Va works here. Like D.Va's not contesting your Widow, which sucks for them, but like it works because like D.Va is making sure like Alari doesn't get just absolutely destroyed, right? And she's denying that high ground from your DPS. Whereas like their Widow is not being contested, and you're also not contesting like a high ground yet. Their Widow is just kind of free, and she has more cover than your Widow in a sense too, because like the defensive side. Big pick from your Sojourn. I think you just get. I'm pretty sure this is where you get Alari. Yeah, that's big also. And I know this is all fast. Unfortunate, you know, that Doom, or that visor, you know, window goes crazy. Nothing you can really do about that, but yeah, I think it's just the high ground contention. Yeah, I'm not going through this, you know, in depth, because like it's just that one thing I said is like the main part of it. And see, like, once, you know, I know you're taking a bunch of damage, right? Like, I think if you start from underneath, you probably take a little bit less. But because you finally, like, contest this high ground, that's when your team starts to, like, win the fights, right? Good push on a BAP. That's all good. This is about when we'll start going again. So, the other thing, like, on Doom, I want to kind of notice is, like, on this point and then third point, and I think you mentioned how, like, you know, you missed your punch and that's why you guys lost it. That probably does win it for you, but I don't think that's the reason you lost. Like, you could have definitely, like, made up for it in other ways. I noticed that, like, in instances like this, like when you have your team has like an advantage in some way, like a lot of them have died, or the fight is just starting, and you know your team has like a better positional advantage. You don't commit enough on Doom, and what I mean by this is like just there, like right, like the soldier, you know, you slam back and then you cancel your punch. I think if you're just really aggressive all out onto him there, like you probably kill him right away. And notice how like coming up here, I think it's Alara you murder. Pretty sure you just absolutely murder Alara because you like fully commit in here. Like right, like you have the advantage. You go on this bitch and she just dies. Like that's awesome. That's what I want to see, like more committal. And I think at the end of third point, like the non-committing kind of comes back to fuck you a little bit. So similar thing here, I think, like obviously Orissa's quite good into Doomfist, so it's going to be scary going into her, and they now have like a full counter comp, so a swap could be in order. That might be the call, but it's okay if you don't, you know. I think here you kind of have to like get to a point where you can get onto them without, you know, taking a bunch of damage. So like playing at long range or like on the left side here is going to kind of be like a no-no. I think the only way you can play left is like if you're underneath. So realistically you have to be right. You either have to be like ready to like get onto them from the right, you know, force them into you and, you know, punch away sort of thing, or like wait for like your Sombra to get into line, you know, wait for like an anti to come in, and then you start to engage from that right side. You don't really want to have to engage from this low ground at all or the left side, because you're just going to take so much damage and have to use like a bunch of cooldowns just to like stay alive over there. Whereas like if you're over here the whole time, right, like you can just walk up here, right, and like as soon as your Ana hits an 8 or your Sombra gets a hack, like you quickly engage and like that person can get absolutely railed. You don't want to have to rely on Sojourn to get picks, is what I mean, you know. See, like right there, like if you had just ever like, you know, walk to the high ground as opposed to like, you know, seismic slamming up there, right? Like you don't need to necessarily take a bunch of damage like you did, right? Like I feel like, yeah. Oh wait. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said wait, hold on, my bad. Yeah, just like, you know, I think starting up on that right high ground is going to be really good for you, like cooldown wise, and you know, like it should allow your team to, you know, kind of hit those abilities that matter, right? Like Sombra, if they're kind of focused on you top right, I'll kind of show it. So like when they were all right here, right, like they're all standing in here, they're shooting from bridge, they're like BAP's back here, you know, Orissa's like here-ish shooting down. If you're just like up here, right, like you're playing like near this wall, right, you can you shotgun up here, you do a little more damage first off, right, like that's good with the shotgun, but you know, if they push into you, which Orisa probably will, right? Like, she'll probably walk into you because she doesn't want you to, like, have this high ground. Your Ana should throw a nade. Like, your Ana should be, like, where she is, like, this is fine. Like, she should toss a nade and hit 3 people. Her whole back line should be hit as soon as Orisa pushes you. And Sombra should be coming from behind or, you know, from the side over here, like, ready to hack someone that's antied, and, like, you plus Sombra and an anti-nade, like, that should get a kill every fight. At least 1 kill, right? And it's going to force all kinds of cooldowns. Immort's going to come out. Like, you know, if they have Beat, like, Beat's coming out. You know, like, Wraith's coming out. Orisa's using all of her cooldowns probably. Like, so, like, that's going to be, like, the crazy, like, great play for you guys. And you probably don't even die and all that. That's the best part. Like, even with all that, you probably don't even die because you didn't need to use all of your cooldowns to get up here. And you know, you maybe just, like, punched in and shotgunned, or, you know, you, like, seismic slammed in, you know, punched out, like, something like that. You know what I mean? Like, you probably don't even die because you didn't use the cooldown to get there. Big pick onto Orisa, though. Good block, too. I know he didn't actually shoot you, but that was good. Nice finish onto Reaper. Good try onto them. It's unfortunate. Good kill. Unfortunate the cast. I think he kills one of your teammates. Maybe not. No, he doesn't. Unfortunate now. This is when your Ana died. Kind of made the fight unwinnable at that point, which sucks. I would definitely just get out at this point with, like, without your Ana. Like I said before, like, your flex support's just, you know, so quintessential to the fight. And this is where, like, again, it might, like, Orisa's not on high ground. This is where, like, the high ground's even better for you, because, like, I think you would agree as a Doom player, like, it's easier to engage from the high grounds. Like, you can see the fight better, you know, like, you can, you know, I know it's, like, Seismic Slam doesn't work the same way it does, but, like, or it used to, but, like, you know, you can, like, get onto them with Seismic Slam real easy. It's just easier to engage. So I think, like, you take the high ground here, your Ana comes back, she should walk high ground, right? Like, she should just follow up behind you on high ground, and then she's in a great spot to throw nades on whatever you engage on. But that's how it should be, at least, you know. You're playing cover, though, at least. Like, that's the good thing about this, that I think you benefit more from starting on the high ground, but, like, you are playing cover really well. So I do love that. Like, you're not, like, just, like, relentlessly taking damage. There's Orisa just cucked you with her, what's it called? Ult here. That was crazy. Really good block to keep yourself alive. She just, that ult was crazy to pull you out of your seismic slam. Okay, so, like you said, I get why you thought you, like, this is what lost you the game. And, like, I think you could have won without it, right? But I think, like, you like lack some commitment in this fight. So, like, Cass right here, right, needs to die. You kind of just like give it up because he gets immorted.
I noticed right there too. I was trying to shoot the Reaper, and there's the Cassidy and the Lucio both together.
Yeah.
It would have been it would have been a way easier target to
Also true.
punch.
Yeah, that is definitely true too. I think like Cassidy right there, he's got an immort. Like, Bap has almost, like, I would bet Bap, yeah, Bap used his self-heal too. Like, commit onto Cass and Bap there, right? Like, don't look for, like, the Reaper when you seismic slam in, right? You know, at that point, like, I don't know if your Ana has nade. I can check that too. No, she doesn't. But, like, your team should be shooting at them with you, right? Like, it shouldn't just be you, you know? So, like, commit onto those, like, easier targets. Like, Immort's out, you know, Cassidy's used Roll, he's used Hinder. He used Hinder at the very beginning, right? Like, one of them should die. I think that's why you lose it. You don't commit onto the right target there. You kind of just, like, look for Reaper and, like, don't really commit. Yeah, and that was all. I'm going to go ahead and stop stream now.